Synopsis of the Books of the Bible. Minor Prophets. By JND Darby. Zechariah. Chapter 1. Exhortation to the people to turn to Jehovah, the conduct of the Gentiles. Zechariah 1. The Spirit of God begins with an exhortation, founded on the proofs that the history of the people supplied of the manner in which the word of the prophets had taken hold of them. Jehovah's displeasure, of which these prophets had not failed to warn the people, had borne its fruit, but God was now taking knowledge of the conduct of the Gentiles, to whom he had committed the place of power, and who, being at ease themselves, did not care for the misery and ruin of God's people. But Jehovah cares for it. He is sore displeased with the heathen that is at ease, and very jealous for Jerusalem. He is returned to Jerusalem with mercies, and prosperity and abundance shall be the portion of his people. We may remark here, that the judgment of Babylon, already accomplished, was in principle the judgment executed on the oppressor among the Gentiles, the head of the empire, of the image, and that the promise of blessing extends to that which shall be the portion of Jerusalem, when the oppressor shall be finally judged. One Gentile empire already judged, 3 then existing. 3 empires were existing in the eye of the Spirit. And the world was at peace under the authority of the second of the 4, the first of these 3. A horse is the symbol of divine energy of government in the earth, and here, in the empires succeeding Nebuchadnezzar. There are here 3, besides the one that stands among the myrtle trees. But they have the character of the providentially administering spirits of the empires rather than of the empires themselves. The first of the 3 horses are of the same color as that of the man who stood among the myrtles, perhaps because Cyrus and the Persians had delivered and favored the people of God, as the Lord Jesus himself will do in the greatness of his power. Such, then, is the import of the first part of this prophecy, the judgment already accomplished displaying the virtue of Jehovah's word, God returning to Jerusalem with mercies and consolation, moved with jealousy for her, and sorely displeased with the nations that were at ease while she was in ruins. Judah restored to a position to receive the Messiah. The vision controlled the whole action of the empires of the nations, and showed that everything was subject to the providential government of God, who inquired into all for his people's sake, and who, looking on to the end of these times of the Gentiles, announced that he was occupied with the prosperity and blessing of his chosen city. Meanwhile, remark, Judah had been restored provisionally to the privileges of its own worship, and to a position in which it might be ready to receive the Messiah for the accomplishment of the purposes of God. The empires oppressing Judah and Jerusalem. The vision at the end of the chapter embraces all the empires who shall have been in relation with Judah and Jerusalem, and have oppressed them, until their final deliverance. The horns appear to symbolize powers, and the carpenters, the instruments employed by God to break them to pieces. We observe that Israel is included in verse 19, as a part of the whole it appears to me, without entering into detail. Nineveh has come under the yoke of Babylon, and Israel being subject, as it was, to the empire, all is put together,